Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. So finally we got Mikhail Boris 13 filling, and as we saw he sold all of his stock and he kept only one, and this is GEO stock. And I have a pretty good history with GEO. Many of you watched my videos before on GEO. I did over the two videos on it, so I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to do an updated analysis on GEO. As Mikhail Burry is back in the stock, and there was a couple of change with the business, with some restricting of the debt, many positive things for the company. So I thought I would do a pretty good analysis on it and explain my thesis on why I believe Mikhail worries about George stock. It's mean GEO. So again, I hope you enjoy it. I was saying that Mikhail Burry went into Core Civic also, which is a stock that I also personally bought, but again he did not, and he is chose GEO, but for pretty good reason. So if you don't really know, they have private prisons all around the world, not just in the United States, even in the United Kingdom, South Africa, and Australia, and the stock is pretty cheap, around 3.5 times free cash flow. But it's a cheap for a very good reason, and for two main reasons, which can I explain in this video, and explain why they are not as bad as people think. So first of all is the whole thing with the sentiments. As you know, GEO is a private prison, and you heard president by them, you heard President Obama, and you heard many presidents for over 10 years. They were saying they want to end private prisons. They don't want private prisons at all, but yet the GEO is still here, and Core Civic is still here, and for a very good reason. Now the big risk with the GEO, which many people think it's a huge risk, and it scare a lot of people away from the stock, is the whole thing with the ICE and the USMC, because President Biden issue executives for ICE and USMC not to be really renew contract with GEO, because those entities, they list the facilities from GEO. So what been happening most of the time, the ICE and USMC, they have not been renewing the contract with GEO. Many people get scared that if they don't really know the contract, therefore GEO come out as loser, and therefore their free cash flow decline, and therefore it's a dying business. But this is not the case actually. GEO has been coming out as a winner whenever they really relay and the contract with them. Now the state is not a problem, because the state have been renewing the contract, because president by then has no control over the states, but they do have control over the ICE and the USMC. So gonna take a look at the case study of one of the sales that GEO actually made. Now, because whenever they want to cancel those contracts, they have two choice. The first choice is, which is very expensive, to transfer those prisoners to another places, and there's not many prisoners in the United States, and they are not really building those prisons. So those prisoners that are here are very very valuable. So the first choice is to move the prisoners to another kind of government owned prison. Now the second choice, which was the government has been doing, they have been buying the facility from GEO. So instead of them having to move all the prisoners and everything that you spared Geo, whatever Geo word, and they just keep the facility, but they own it, not Geo. And you could look at you could look at the facility that sold called Talbot Hall in the New Jersey, and they sold it for around 13.2 million. Now you may say, okay, 30.2 million, what's the big deal? Well, if you actually look at what I had on book, and his he this is a Starbucks on their book, New Jersey, and you could look on their book, it only 3 million. So they had it in their book at the only 3 million, and they sold it for 13.2 million. This is more than 10 times what they had it on book, 10 times. And there's many of those things again. And again you could watch my video before. I have gone in many such cases where they sold those facility 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times what they actually had then on book. And I can go on and on, and many kind of examples that where this kind of things happen. So now, as looking at this, as we know that Geo is selling at a pretty valuable real estate portfolio, and if the government really want to add private prisons, they mostly have to buy those facilities for more than they are worth. And Geo has been using this opportunity to sell them for more than book and try to pay down the debt, which is leads me to the second worry. Now the first worry, as you saw, whatever the government has been trying to do for the past, and if they do end the contract, Geo is the winner, not the loser. Now the second big problem was the company is that they do have a lot of debt. Now the company makes like 250 million of free cash flow, but as you can see, if they're over 1.7 billion maturing in 2024 and 277 billion, so I have $2 billion maturing in 2 years alone. Now that would send the company straight to bankruptcy, because again Geo cannot afford to pay it. Now the real estate portfolio may actually be worth more liquidation, but again the company does not want to liquidate itself. And this is and this was a big risk with the stock, but it is not really risk anymore, because Geo did a restructuring of the debt, and this was a positive news with the company. As you saw on the restructuring between 2023 and 28, so that 2023 and 24, that was around 2 billion, and they reduced it from 2 billion to approximately 600 million. So there's a 2 billion, now is only 600 million. Now the company has 600 million of cash now on the balance sheet, which means that Geo is not going under, it's not going bankrupt. And this kind of payment, which was around 1.4 billion, is gonna be moved to 28, and Geo can really pay it off through free cash flow and some assets. So this was really my analysis on GeoGen paying back. So that is the main catalyst for the valuable expansion and potential change in sentiments from a Republican and or a more kind of friendly private prisons, friendly Congress and President could really do a lot of things to those two stock, and Geo and Core Civic. I mean, they pretty undervalued, inflation proof, recession proof. So it's pretty amazing, and it's good to see Mikhail Vori back in stock. So this was my very awful today. I hope you enjoy it. If you did, please press like button and maybe consider subscribing. So I hope to see you another video. Bye bye.